we got a Jimmy High Roller another video. Uh, the title is deceiving. I don't know what we talking about. I'm gonna assume it's probably some Victor Wembanyama glaze, cause I seen Victor do some crazy at the thumbnail. It was like that crazy like double pump dunk. So I think this is what this video is about.
A few days ago during the
Right?
Pacers-Knicks matchup, I saw something that I
Oh
have
no,
never
Pacers
seen
Knicks. I didn't watch
before,
this game. What happened?
and it completely blew my mind.
Was it really that crazy?
Nice bounce pass, Jackson. Foul.
I don't think I've seen that before. Wait, that. Like that specific? Wait, it's stuck up there? Wait, no, it's not. Where? Where is it stuck? Where? No. Where is it stuck? Oh, I don't think I've seen it get stuck in between us.
Did y'all just see
like
that? It happened quick, and if you weren't paying close
Wait,
attention
Obi
during
Toppin
this
really just like,
broadcast,
dang,
you
Obi
could
Toppin
have
really got
easily missed
hops.
it. But Obi Toppin just casually dislodged the ball at the top of the backboard. After the game,
yeah,
I had
that
to
is
go
crazy.
and
I
find
ain't
this
gonna lie
clip
to
and
you.
rewatch it a few times to make sure I wasn't tripping. And sure enough,
That
I
was so
not.
casual.
Obi Toppin just touched the top of the backboard. Not that long ago, a feat like this was stuff of legend.
That was
We
like
used to
that'd be
hear
a 10 in
stories
the
about
dunk
crazy
contest.
athletic players from
That's-
the past being able to pull this
But
off.
this is why it's crazy that he didn't win the dunk contest. Cause if he did that shit 10 years earlier, bro, he would have won. He would have won.
But there was never
We've seen
any
that Zach
video
LaVine, Aaron
evidence or
Gordon.
proof, so we just had to take their word for it, regardless of how unbelievable it sounded. And it always
Oh, he definitely
sounded
got to talk about
unbelievable.
that Vic
Something
dunk thing.
that
'Cause
used
that
to
double
be claimed
cut,
as
yeah, that
a
was
feat of
crazy.
superhuman athleticism, and Obi Toppin just jogged up and did it like it was nothing. And almost as crazy as the jump itself is the fact that no one even
Yeah, no
batted.
one blinked.
It didn't really get much of a
I must say,
reaction. No
he was
one
on the
talked
Knicks, so
about it
everyone on the
after.
Knicks has seen him
Hardly
do that.
anyone
Well,
even
actually,
made
no
note of
one.
it.
Last time he was
It
on the
kind
Knicks,
of
half
just
them niggas
came
not on
and
that team no
went.
more.
I guess this is just normal now,
Dang.
which got me thinking. Are NBA players today better athletes now than ever before? It's obvious by now that the skill level
Yes. The skill, I think all like Michael Jordan. That's what I'm saying. Michael Jordan wouldn't be as crazy now today because
around the league is at an
You got
all-time
Obi
high.
Toppin,
There's
gang.
no debate there. But are NBA players more athletic than players of the past?
Oh, for sure.
Can they actually jump higher and run faster than
Well,
players that
look at
came before
Victor
them?
Wembanyama
That
versus
seems
Boban.
to be
This
the
is the same
general
height,
consensus right
but
now. And
Boban
it's
cannot do what
definitely
Vic
what
be
my
doing.
eyes are seeing. But according to the data,
The
this
data is not saying
may not
that.
be the case.
Ain't no. Then that's glaze. That's saying what they say. Stop the count. Oh, I guess it was like 30 years
Today's
ago, but
video
still.
is sponsored by DraftKings.
No.
In any bonus time in life where this has been up for debate.
Huh?
You see? With time, inevitably comes evolution.
Bro, I really
You
missed
see
that
it everywhere
sexy
you look.
saxophone
However,
Jimmy Howard
the
used to
one
use. I'm
area
so
in
mad
life
it
where
got
this has been up
copyrighted,
for
bro.
debate is the NBA. Fans of past eras claiming the league has regressed and is somehow now in a worse state than it was decades ago. But after some lighthearted
The
and completely
flopping? Yeah,
rational
but
and
besides
level-headed
the flopping, I
discussions,
wouldn't
it
say
seems
that.
most fans generally agree that the league is in fact better now than it was in the past. Shooting is
Yeah,
better,
OG?
scoring
Bro, OG, bro. They be disrespecting OG. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why they have all these YNs arguing with OG, bro.
is more. The league is in fact better now than it was in the past. Shooting is better, scoring is more efficient, players are more skilled.
I told you, I gotta
but
stop
does the
disrespecting
same
OG like
logic
that.
apply to the actual physical abilities of players? Are today's NBA players better athletes than their predecessors? Well, according to the comment section of any past player's highlight reel, they sure
Yeah, bro. We've seen what they say. Just look up the craziest layups from. Oh my gosh, which bro that was on the Lonnie Walker, and you'll see him doing like 15 reverse lays. And you look up how many reverse lays Michael Jordan is doing. You're like, bro, if you put Michael Jordan and Zach LaVine on the same team, I don't think Michael Jordan would look as freakish of an athlete. And they both played for the Bulls for a decent amount of time. I don't
are.
think
Claims
that's
that
crazy.
Today's players are not just more skilled, but they are far superior athletes.
Oh yeah,
And
Zach
as
LaVine,
biased
bro.
and
That's what I'm saying.
nearsighted
Zach
as
LaVine
this
versus
may
Michael
sound,
Jordan.
when
Give him 10
watching
years on the
these
Bulls
games
together.
today, it's becoming hard to deny. While watching this year's preseason,
Zion.
it felt like what was once
Crazy.
a
Zion
jaw-dropping
is just a
feat of
mini
athleticism
Charles
has now
Barkley.
become a fairly regular occurrence. Like, what is this? Christian Brown, a player who is not even regarded as a high flyer,
Exactly.
taking off in traffic, head
White
at
man
the
can
rim,
dunk.
gets stuffed by Hartenstein, and they're back off to the races like nothing even happened. Here's a play by Brandon Miller.
Yeah,
a skill
Brandon
guy.
Miller, yeah, that
Why
was
is he catching a
dope.
body like prime Blake Griffin? Zach Edey is 7'4", 300 pounds, and the man is catching
He's
lobs like
7'4"?
he's an athletic stretch.
Oh, he is 7'4". Yeah, if he has any intangibles and fundamentals, the Grizzlies are they OD. Him and Jaren Jackson Jr. Yeah, bro. Watch out, watch out, watch out, Vic. Watch out.
4. This is the same
I
guy
didn't know he
who
was the same
coming
height
into
as
the
Vic.
draft was described as a plotter, slow, unathletic.
Yeah, they said that,
This
but he
guy,
can shoot
whose
though.
strengths were noted as everything but his athleticism.
He was a
who's
sleeper
catching
pick
the
for
ball
sure. I
from
don't think they should have let the
stratosphere.
Grizzlies get him.
7'5" alien leaning into a double pump. What
That's
am
what I'm
I
saying.
watching?
That was crazy.
This block by Malik Monk. This is insane. Somewhere there's a career defensive mixtape of Michael Jordan doing the same exact block. Nowadays, this is just another Tuesday in the NBA. None of these plays from a week's worth of preseason games will make anyone's career highlight tape. They're not really noteworthy in today's game. In fact, despite their incredible physical tools, some of these players aren't even on an NBA team at the moment. So are NBA players today athletically superior to players of the past? According to years worth of data across not just basketball, but many sports,
don't piss me off, Jimmy.
Time and time again.
Jimmy, don't piss me off, cause I know you're a numbers guy. You gonna pull up these graphs, these stick charts, you gonna pull up all these statistics. Don't piss me off, Jimmy. I fuck with you. Don't you do it. Don't you do it, Jimmy.
Is no. Anatomical and physical evolution takes far longer than just a few decades. Most measurable metrics suggest that there's little to no improvement on athleticism of athletes today versus athletes 20.
I give you this. It's no Steve Nash's and it's far less Steve Nash's and John Stockton's and Jerry West in the NBA now. Not white men, but I mean prototypical white men that's gonna give you 8 points and 15 assists. Them niggas not doing that shit. That's what I'm saying. JJ Redick, cold. Kyle Korver, cold. You know, DiVincenzo, cold. But niggas is like 3-level scorers too. They not just like white boys can do more than just shoot a 3 now. So I don't know, bro. White boys get catching bodies.
Or 30 years ago, and most of what little improvement has been made can usually be attributed to better training, better nutrition, and better equipment. But when it comes to the NBA specifically, what exactly does the data say? And how much athletic progression has there been over the last 20 or 30 years?
Oh my God, my bad. My fault, OG. My fault, OG.
Vertical leap.
I was just gonna say, bro, can we get like a bowl, like a Manute Bol versus Victor Wembanyama? Bro, what do you think? Because when people be like time machine, real talk. If we had a real time machine and we could get Manute Bol versus Victor Wembanyama, what do you think that would look like? I don't think Manute Bol cooking, bro. That's all I can tell you.
Of every NBA draftee since 2000.
Okay.
Unfortunately, there isn't any publicly available data on draft classes before 2000, but still, this is a quarter century worth of data. And throughout the last 25 years and nearly 1,500 players, there has been a slight increase in leaping ability of players around the league. In 25 years, the average vertical leap in the NBA has increased by about 3 inches, or about 8% higher than it was 25 years ago, which isn't much, but it is notable considering the sample size. However, 3 inches of leaping ability does not explain the elevation in gameplay and acrobatics that we see in the NBA today compared to where it was nearly 3 decades ago. In fact, an 8% increase around the league could be attributed to simply the optimization of athletics rather than the athletes themselves. As previously mentioned, equipment, training, and nutrition. What is interesting, though, is that 25 years ago, there was a distinct separation in explosiveness from position to position. Different skill sets for different roles on the court.
Bro, we
But
play
in
positionless
recent
basketball
years,
now.
the test
Whoa.
results
Max vertical leaps since 2000. All right, so league average is the white one. If you look up center, that's what I'm saying. If you look up centers, 2000s, the max vert height was 29.5 inches. Now, if you're looking at max height today, it's 34. They're saying centers jumping 30 extra 6 inches. That's probably the biggest leap I want to say. Yeah, it's probably the biggest leap. But I say like league average, what was that? 30, about 33. Yeah, it's only 36. So, oh, cause that's what you're saying. Yeah, top. Cause ain't nobody but like look at point guard still. Interesting. Point guards normally had the highest. a little bit of shooting guards. Guards normally have the highest. You see that? See, like the point guards and the shooting guards with the highest. The lowers is the power forwards and the centers, and then the small forwards is. That's what I'm saying. Positions, but I think the way point guards is lowering because we got a whole bunch of like Ben Simmons and Palos and LaMelos. We got
across
6'8",
all
6'9"
positions
point
have
guards.
converged. Perimeter players on average indistinguishable
only a
from one
2-inch
another,
version.
and big men
'Cause
just
it's
slightly
positionless
behind.
basketball,
One
man.
side effect of a positionless
Ben
league
Simmons
is
will
the
play
merging
1
of
through
skills
5.
regardless of size. But inadvertently, this has also caused the merging of actual physical abilities
play 1 through
regardless of
4.
size and alleged position. The NBA Combine also conducts an agility drill where players are tested on their lateral quickness and mobility. How fast can you cover space while cutting and changing direction? And in this metric, players have also gotten slightly more athletic over the last 25 years. And when I say slightly, I mean by just 3%, or 0.3 seconds better since 2000. An average that has gotten consistently better over the years, but by a negligible amount. Not nearly enough of a discrepancy to make any conclusions about better athletes in the NBA today than even 25 years ago. The Combine's sprint drill is as simple as it sounds. Sprint 3/4 of the court as fast as you can. And in this test, NBA players have, again, not really changed at all since 2000. No measurable progress in flat-out speed across the NBA over the last 20.
Yeah, that's why I was like athletically, yes and no, because you gotta realize Shaq played like 20 years ago. So Shaq is crazy. Michael Jordan played in the 90s. Julius Erving, Dr. Dre, High Flyers. But they did not know goddamn Kyrie Irving 30 years ago. I mean, AI was decent. Not no Kyrie and stuff. That's what I'm saying. We really got magicians now, gang.
5 years, which means across 3 different tests of athletic ability conducted by over 1,000 NBA players over the course of nearly 3 decades, the NBA is somewhere between 3 to 8% more athletic than it previously was, which is a long shot from the claims of superior athleticism. But possibly the most definitive answer to this question comes from a company that specializes in this exact field. In 2023,
Michael
Ross
Jordan would have
Anderson of
struggled
The
in today.
Atlantic
We didn't
wrote
say
a
he would
piece
struggle.
exploring
He
the
just
idea
wouldn't
of
look like a
athleticism in the
basketball
NBA,
guy
and
in
if
front
the
of.
data backs up what our eyes are seeing, that players today are better athletes than
Where my
players of
mouse
the
at?
past. And with
Like I've said probably 3 times this video, a backcourt of Michael Jordan and Zach LaVine would not be as crazy. Like this shit, that's what I'm saying. When we got backcourts with Lonzo Ball, Lonzo Ball and Zach LaVine, or LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller, or you got Steph Curry and Clay. Like, bro, Michael Jordan and Steph Curry wouldn't be a crazy backcourt. We have niggas like Michael Jordan right now, DeMar. His vert not crazy, but like
within his investigation, he got in touch with P3, a company that specializes in optimizing the performance of athletes. At P3, they use state-of-the-art technology to gather real-time data on athletes and then conduct an analysis to find areas in which they can improve athletically. And in the process, they have amassed some of the most comprehensive data sets on these athletes and their physical capabilities,
I wonder how much money they
such as
spent
raw
on
force
this.
production, power, and overall movement and speed. Now, according to P3, 2/3 of NBA players who suited up last season have worked out at their facility,
2/3,
which gives P3 incredibly detailed data on the majority of players
That
around
gives
the
them-
league. And according to the data, today's average NBA athlete is 4 to 7% better than the average NBA athlete from more than 10 years ago, which lines up with the data that we gathered from the NBA Combine. And it gives us great evidence that NBA players today, even if it isn't much, are better athletes than the players of the past. But Marcus Elliott, founder and director of P3, says this progress is a matter of performance optimization, not necessarily an evolution of the athletes themselves, stating that when he began evaluating players about 15 years ago, many were operating at only 75 to 80% of their potential athleticism, whereas today players are operating at closer to 90% of their potential. But the extra 5 to 10% boost in athleticism over the course of a couple decades doesn't explain what we're actually seeing on the court and how it appears like players of today are far superior athletes than players of yesterday. So if NBA players
Yeah.
have
Dennis
statistically
Smith Jr.,
only
crazy.
gotten
Oh my
marginally
goodness,
more
what was that, Trey
explosive
Murphy?
and agile over the last few
Oh,
decades,
Lord.
and all of the data says there isn't much evidence to prove otherwise, how do we explain the leap in physical abilities from today's players that we are actually seeing? Well, in order to answer this question, we need to redefine
Look at
how we
him. He just
perceive
vibing.
and measure
Is that the coach? Or
athleticism.
is that like
Despite the years that have
just a
passed,
trainer?
Michael Jordan and the way he played remains an outlier in the timeline of basketball. Where many players of the past have a game that aesthetically isn't so favorable through the lens of 2024, Michael's acrobatics are to this day a spectacle.
You know what I'm saying?
And that is a
Dark
perk
skin,
exclusive
bald,
to a
Zach
man that was
LaVine.
arguably the best athlete in the history of the league. But have you ever seen MJ attempt an East Bay? Well, it's kind of weird. This footage is from 1989, during
89?
Michael's athletic peak. He's got hands the size of baseball mitts, 6 feet 6 inches tall. His vert is well
That's
over 40
it.
inches, and
Freak
yet he struggled
athlete,
to
but
throw down a
skill
dunk that has
set?
become
No,
fairly
the nigga
routine
couldn't shoot
in the NBA
threes.
today. But Michael had all of the physical tools to easily pull off an East Bay, and I have absolutely no doubt that he could. After all, this is just one missed
I'm saying, the
attempt.
nigga's dunking
But
from the
this
free throw
clip
line.
demonstrates that maybe it's not the athleticism that has gotten better over the years,
skills.
but rather the way players use their athleticism. This is Orlando Woolridge, and he was the first player to pull off an East Bay in the NBA dunk contest back in 1984. Of course, this dunk existed before 1984, but it wasn't
first in a
something
dunk
players would
contest?
regularly attempt, let alone pull off, even for the league's highest flyers. But over time, the dunk became more popular, almost like a measuring stick of elite jumping ability. Fast forward 15
There you
years,
go,
and
okay.
a simple East Bay would get you 10s across the board in the NBA dunk contest in the late 90s and early 2000s. But today, this dunk hardly even turns heads. Players are doing this in games. High school players who aren't nearly as explosive as a prime MJ are doing this dunk. Not because they are jumping higher or are more agile than their
That's
predecessors,
crazy.
but because
Yeah, it
players
doesn't sound
today
like
have been
Bronny.
taught and
Shitty
trained on
Bronny's
how to
doing it.
maximize,
He's not shitty in my
optimize,
opinion, but
and
y'all
use their
niggas be calling him
physical
shitty.
tools to a far greater
Bronny can do
extent
one
than
at
players of the
6'3".
past. Oftentimes,
6'2".
players of the past possessed all of the explosiveness and agility to pull off what we see in the
I'm
league
saying,
today.
but remember,
They
84
just
was what,
didn't
40
know how to
years
use
ago.
it. At least not like today's athletes do. And according to countless studies regarding this topic, this is the prevailing theory: utilization and optimization of pre-existing physical abilities. The highlights and jaw-dropping feats of athleticism that we see far more often from players today aren't a result of them being more athletic, but rather having the skills and abilities to do more with their athleticism. The extra 5 to 10% of measurable improvement of athletic ability may explain some of this, but the evolution of specialized training and skill is the driving force here. A player in the 90s may have had all the physical tools to slice up a defense, cut through the lane, and put together a clip for their highlight reel, but without the skills to keep the ball in front of them along the way, those physical tools are essentially watered down to a slower, less explosive alternative. Rising above a defender for a poster is a feat of athleticism, but so is the combo a player put together to break their defender and get to the rim in the first place. Without the skills to initiate the highlight, there is no highlight. And as the skill level around the league has jumped dramatically over time, so have all of the displays of athletic ability. Big men of the past may have had the vertical leap to go and catch a lob 12 feet in the air, but without the body control, play style, or constant high pick and roll action that we see today, they never really get the opportunity.
Dang, now I'm curious. What do we even think the next 5 minutes is of this video? I love watching these, so I'm gonna watch it, but like, if we've already come to the conclusion that the athleticism really hasn't changed, it's more of just like the usage of the athleticism. The players are smart enough and know how to use their bodies. So it looks cooler. That's what I'm saying. They got more time to hone in their craft.
To put this athleticism on display.
I don't know what these next 5 minutes is, though. I'm waiting on it, though.
Is a freak of nature, and we know this because every other possession he comes barreling down the lane and shows off his incredible speed, vert, and strength. His athleticism is always on full display, But if Giannis played back in 1995, how likely is it that he gets relegated to the low post, restricted to hook shots and having his back to the basket on most possessions? If he isn't granted the opportunity to learn how to handle the ball and be a scoring threat from outside and float around the
Hold up.
perimeter, how often would he get a full head of steam to attack the basket and show off his physical tools?
Yeah, bro.
Similar
Wow.
to Giannis, David Robinson was a freak of nature. But outside of the occasional fast break or lob to the rim, there wasn't nearly as many opportunities for fans to witness the full extent of his freakish abilities. Even playstyle itself can play a deceptive role on how we view athleticism of certain players. In the 2008 NBA Combine, Russell Westbrook recorded a max vertical leap of 36.5
Only
inches.
36?
Not nearly as high as you would expect from seemingly one of the most explosive
We
athletes
sure?
in NBA history.
Are we sure this
10
is
years
real?
later, Grayson Allen, a far cry from
Bro
what
got
you
like
would
a 40.
consider to be an elite jumper, recorded a max vert of 40.5 inches. In fact, Grayson Allen tested better than Westbrook in every single drill in the Combine. And even knowing this, there isn't a soul on earth who would say he is a better athlete than Westbrook was. Because while Westbrook was
God.
playing above the rim, Grayson Allen was taking spot-up threes. If I were to ask you who was the most explosive athlete between Stephen Curry and Blake Griffin, the answer would be painfully obvious. Except most fans would get it wrong. Because in the 2009 Combine,
Low key. Well, like athlete, flashier would be Blake, but no, Steph Endurance. This nigga, all he do is run off screen. He'd be a great marathon runner. I don't know if he would beat Blake Griffin in the marathon for sure.
their results were virtually identical. Blake was actually more agile than Steph in the agility drill, and Steph
Yeah,
somehow
Steph
clocked the
can dunk.
same max vert as Blake did. Athleticism and how we as fans identify it can be a very misleading.
Yep, yeah, playing style. Cause, bro, if you look at, cause it's crazy. Cause like LeBron and Russ have like the same stats and they play the same, but these niggas don't. And Russ and Steph Curry has like the same. I don't know. Yeah, this is crazy. That's what I'm saying, bro. It's a crazy world we live in. You know what I'm saying?
Leading thing.
It's
It all
all
depends
about
on how
what role
and
they
where
let
you
you-
use
they
it.
let you
When a
play.
player in the NBA makes a crazy layup, this is often a result of skill opening the door for athleticism, not the other way around. Knowing how to utilize the angles, how to attack a defender, how to move your body and get the best look at a shot. These are
I'm in
all
love
skills
with
that
your
have been developed.
body.
Skills that are far beyond the average player of the past. And skills that allow players to actually use their athleticism to their full potential. And when we watch this, it appears to be more athletic than what we saw in the past. Because it is. But not in any quantifiable way that can be measured through a vert test or an agility drill. Without the ball in their
Statistically,
hands,
it's
NBA
not
players
a crazy
today are
feat, but,
almost
like, the eye
indiscernible
test,
from players
yes.
of 25 years ago. There's almost no measurable difference between them. But give them the ball, some space, and a playstyle that emphasizes their abilities. And very quickly, the gap between what they are able to pull off on the court becomes clear as day. But this isn't to discount players of the past. There were countless players who would be top-tier athletes in any generation, and the ones who had the skills to complement their athleticism prove that the NBA has always been loaded with great athletes. However, the number of players who were able to reach their full athletic potential without the training, technology, equipment, and knowledge that players of today have was far less, leading to a league that appeared to be far less athletic than it is today. Are NBA players today better athletes than players of the past? Well, technically, yeah, but not in the way that we have been led to believe.
Statistically, not
NBA players
really,
haven't
but eye
evolved
test,
athletically.
hell
They don't
yeah.
jump much higher or run much faster than the players that came before them. But with the benefit of decades of advancements in how we measure,
What they say? They just use an extra 30% of their brain. And there's not really a physical way you can see a nigga using more of his brain. Like watching somebody score a 90 on a test versus like a 75. Like if you just watching body language, it's not gonna be as crazy unless one person's clip farming. But Yeah, man. That's what I'm saying. The
train
eye
and
test, bro.
improve athletes. Today's NBA players have optimized their athleticism far more than players of the past. They understand their bodies and abilities more, and they have been meticulously
Crazy
trained
part is
to know
since it's
exactly how to get the most
it's
out of
October
them.
27th,
The extra 5 to 10%
Sunday.
of measurable
A whole bunch of
increase
NBA
in
games are
athletic
still happening right
performance
now.
may have something to do with the incredible
Was that
plays
hold
where
up? Was that
measurable
Denzel
increase in athletic
Valentine?
performance may have
No, that wasn't. My fault, G. That's not. But I about to cook you, gang. Who is? These are niggas selling my team, bro.
something to do with the incredible plays we are now spoiled with. But many of these athletic feats
Hold
can
up.
be due with the
You know who that
incredible
was?
plays
That
we are
had
now
to be
spoiled
It wasn't. No, wait. Maybe.
with. But many of these
Oh shit, we can't
athletic
tell.
feats can be
I'm assuming that
attributed
was
to a
bro.
developed
Who's
skill
tweaking?
and complementary
Talking
play
about he's better than
style
everybody
that is
'cause he
much
was?
more difficult to measure. Athletically, over time,
Yeah, Zach-
NBA
no, Zach
players
LaVine's crazy,
haven't
gang.
changed much at all. But how they use their athleticism,
We getting
that
Cooper Flag
is
next
the
year,
evolution.
bro. We getting Cooper Flag. We about to go we about to win 20 games this season. We've watched both of these videos, so if you want to watch our reaction, bro, there should be somewhere on the channel already. But yeah, bro, like, comment. What was your favorite part of the video? We can have a discussion in the back, like in the bottom, like with the older people and the younger people. Do you really feel like the current NBA is leagues ahead, like eye test wise? Because we just seen that the statistics barely, but I mean, when you look at probably the top 50 people, the top 20 best, 50 NBA players in the 90s versus now, yeah, it's kind of hard when the top 10 is like Joel Embiid, Giannis, LeBron James, Steph, KD, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Klay Thompson, Kyrie Irving, Anthony Edwards, stuff like that. So, I can't name 5 small forwards from the 90s. I'm sorry. I can't. But I can name Paul George, LeBron James, and like Kawhi. Like, come on, bro. We small forwards. KD is a small forward too, bro. Like, come on. Let's be real, bro. Maybe it's better. But if you don't think that, let me know in the comments, bro. I'll be there to debate you. I'll be there.